Good morning. I almost said good afternoon. We're not quite there yet. Thank you to Madam Chair and members of the committee. House Bill 482 reflects a fact, and I wish that my friend Delegate Rasool, with whom I used to work in a building that stood on this same footprint, was still in the room, because I was going to comment that when I worked with Delegate Rasool in that building was asbestos. That building was built at a time when we learned about the threat of Keepone, and the building stood during the years of thalidomide. And in that building, there were fax machines. And that's what 482 addresses. It's a code fix that was brought to our attention by a couple of our sheriffs in one of our school divisions. Currently, the Virginia Code requires that where an employee of a school system is arrested for a felony or a Class 1 misdemeanor, that the school system be informed by the law enforcement agency via fax and email. So we apparently got in to clean up the code after they invented email, but we left fax in. Now, I would ask the members of this committee rhetorically, where is your fax machine? So the reality is that we don't use those anymore, and so that's concern number one, that we had a difficulty in interfacing between law enforcement and our schools because on one side, they literally didn't have a working fax. So they couldn't comply with the law. The second concern is that the school system did say, well, if you can find a fax, please don't fax that information regarding that arrest of that school employee, because it's going to come onto a tray on our fax machine, which I can't believe they still have, but they did, and describe the offense alleged to have been committed by said school employee in violation of their privacy rights, and it concerned the school greatly as it related to their potential liability. So I will conclude by saying that the VDOE has asked that I make a request to, or make an amendment to this bill this morning via text. I am delighted to throw this amendment before the committee, should someone so move and would consider it to be a friendly amendment. On line 25 of the text, I would change the word or to and. On line 25, I would change the word or to and that would just ensure that the communication was made appropriately via email now that we're in the 21st century. Thank you.
The amendment has been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion from committee members? Delegate Garrett, can you say again who it was who gave you this amendment? I didn't quite catch that.
The Virginia Department of Education, VDOE.
Okay.
And it was a gentleman named Zach that works at that group, and they're unable to be here this morning because apparently their entire building has no electricity.
Okay. So. Any other discussion from the committee? All right. We have an amendment that's been properly seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, so the bill as amended is before us. Any other discussion by members of the committee? Second. All right, it's been moved to report and seconded. Do we have any testimony for this bill? Any folks here in favor? Any opposed? Any online participation that we know of? All right, any discussion from committee members? Delegate Cousins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question for the delegate.
Go right ahead.
So have you spoken with probation and parole officers to determine if they can actually meet this requirement, the notification requirement?
The requirement isn't currently on probation and parole officers. It's on the law enforcement entity that makes the arrest at the time of the arrest. So the probation and parole would obviously become involved after there had been an adjudication of guilt. But the code section is to report the arrest of school employees, not the conviction of school employees.
Okay, I'm sorry, follow up?
Yes.
Okay, but this section, it's line 68. To me, it seems to place the reporting requirement on the probation and parole officer who's supervising the person at the time of the arrest.
I would hope, although I do not know, that we don't have teachers in our schools who are being supervised currently by probation and parole officers. The request that that was made to us to carry this bill was via the sheriff's department as it related, and the school systems. However, I think if the goal of the bill is to bring the Code of Virginia contemporarily online with, say, the building in which we all work, that we should go ahead and scrub the word facts from all of the code and not just some parts.
Any other discussion from members of the committee?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a substitute motion.
Go right ahead.
Madam Chair, I'd like to lay this bill on the table.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded to lay on the table, which is not debatable. Madam Clerk, you may open the roll. All right, you may close the roll. The motion reports 4-3. Thank you, Delegate Garrett.
Thank you all.